Allbirds sent me a pair of their all-wool shoes. I put them on. They were so white and breathable and comfortable. They didn't have any fancy logos on them. They just felt good on my feet, and they were nice. They looked good, and they felt good. Do you know why? Because the most comfortable shoes in the world are made of all wool. Even Time Magazine said that. And they've got a couple styles. They've got the Wool Runner, which is your go-to lace-up shoe for everywhere you go. It's flexible, supportive, and so light. They take you seamlessly through your entire day, whether you're at work or you're playing at night. And they also have the Wool Lounger. It's breathable, lightweight slip-on shoe that's perfect whether I'm traveling on a red-eye across the country or going to see a basketball game. The comfort, style, and sustainability do not have to be mutually exclusive. Allbirds is dedicated to making stylish, comfortable footwear that uses premium natural materials designed for life's everyday adventures. Allbirds textile is made from superfine New Zealand merino wool, using fibers that are 20% the diameter of a human hair. So unlike the wool you may be used to, Allbirds' breathable fabric regulates temperature and moisture without any itch. The holidays are right around the corner. You should consider Allbirds for a gift for someone on your list, or better yet, yourself. They're available in a variety of colors and styles. Pick the perfect pair at allbirds.com.
Want an easy way to see if you could save money on car insurance? Geico gives you 3. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Go online to geico.com or stop by the Geico office nearest you. 3 ways you could save 15% or more.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do?
We get to find individuals that support this program exactly what they want, when they want it, when they need it, whether podcast, radio, or television.
We all saw the Cleveland Cavaliers play the best game we've seen them play in this NBA Finals. We saw them take a lead. We saw Kyrie Irving and LeBron James play miraculous games until the last 4 minutes. What happened at the end of the game that sealed the Cavaliers' fate in these finals?
I talked about this ad nauseum about this game plan. The Golden State Warriors were going to force LeBron James to be a volume scorer. Kyrie Irving, the exact same thing. Stay with the role players, not give them open looks, and see how many buckets both of those guys could get and try to carry them home. Kevin Love truly struggled in Game 3 as well. It almost didn't play out in the Golden State Warriors' favor until Klay Thompson played really well keeping them into the ball game, locking down on D, making shots in particular the first 3 quarters. Steph Curry had his moments, but Kevin Durant came through in the 4th quarter, and he scored 14 points and had a couple of daggers to seal the deal on the road.
After the game, LeBron James, with his baseball hat low and his motorcycle jacket shiny, faced the media, and he spoke about the team that they're facing in these finals.
Oh, man, before the series even started, we knew we was dealing with I said it after we won the Eastern Conference Finals, that we're getting ready for a juggernaut. I mean, it's probably the most firepower, I've played in my career. I've played against some great teams, but I don't think no team has had this type of firepower. So even when you playing well, you got to play like, A++.
Is he conceding that the Warriors are a better team than the Cavs?
Well, he doesn't have to concede. We clearly see that.
That's fair. The games have shown that, I suppose. It's one way of putting it.
They actually keep scoring these professional sporting events.
Yep. The numbers on the scoreboard do reflect the quality of each team.
So with that being said, what he's truly discussing is something that's unique that has taken place. Unfortunately for me, in 1998, I was on the floor in a 7-game series as a member of the Indiana Pacers, but we were going against Mike and Scotty. And they were the 2 of the top 5 players in the league. And in 2000, same exact thing, except the team was in purple and gold. It was Shaq and Kobe. We have not seen, since those 2 teams, in my opinion, the level of productivity for 2 players, both under 30, that have won MVPs or playing at an all-NBA caliber first-team level like we see from KD and Steph. That's the firepower that he's talking about. And then you toss in Klay Thompson, who's a shot maker. So now when you look at the landscape of the floor, when he says firepower, it's not just scoring buckets. It's shooting with range. And all of a sudden, their three-point shooting, when they seem to be down, continuously keeps them in striking distance. And before you know it, when somebody gets hot, it's lights out, baby.
The Cleveland Cavaliers have been relying on their three-point shot all year long, and it left them at the worst possible time. What did the Warriors do to keep them off the three-point line?
They do a terrific job of smothering the three-point line, running shooters off catch-and-shoot opportunities, help and recover, and force you inside the three-point arc. You mentioned a lot of those players who are solely on the floor because they're knocked down three-point shooters. J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver, Channing Frye. A lot of times Kevin Love is used the exact same way as basically a stretch four. So they need not only LeBron James and Kyrie Irving to draw double and triple teams. And by the way, Kyrie Irving was fantastic.
It was an excellent
There was a
game.
point in the game where he was 12 for 12 finishing in the paint.
And I'd say 10 of those 12 were impossible shots to make.
No doubt. Jumping off the right foot, jumping off the left foot, shooting it with the left hand, shooting it with the right hand. He probably has one of the softest touches that I've seen. So many of his shots either hit off the glass or they just hit off the rim. They roll around a little bit and boom, they fall straight in. But with that being said, they were going to force those two players to put up humongous offensive stats and then make them work on defense. There is no hiding Kyrie Irving on that end of the floor. Who do you put him on? Steph? Klay? Definitely don't want to have him on KD.
No.
Where's Clark? Woof. I could have him on him for a couple of minutes. And so, where's Sean Livingston? Woo, he's not a three-point shooter, but he'll take him to the post. So now you got to put Richard Jefferson in. So because of that firepower, because of that versatility, the Golden State Warriors are able to not allow the Cleveland Cavaliers to get those three-point shots off that they've gotten off all year.
LeBron James's production has been drastically declining as the game gets into the later stages. You've been staying by your stance that LeBron James does not get tired as it gets late in the game. I disagree with you, and so does Draymond Green. Let's give a listen to what he said about LeBron's enthusiasm after the third quarter.
Caught LeBron walking off at the end of the third quarter, and you can just tell he was exhausted. And, he had got off the ball and just was letting Kyrie go to work trying to catch his breath. So we knew that they were starting to wear down, and we just had to stay within striking distance.
Steve Kerr echoed these statements as well. Do you think Kyrie and LeBron were tired from carrying the burden on the offensive end?
Not only were they fatigued, they were defeated, which is a different emotion that a lot of people don't tap into. And that's why I love being at the game, because at the end of the third quarter, in particular, the last couple of minutes, there were a few possessions where the Golden State Warriors scored or it was a dead ball, and whoever was inbounding the ball was trying to give it to LeBron or Kyrie, and they were looking at each other to see who was going to bring it up. And it was a time where 3 or 4 of the people were walking up the court at the exact same time. And there was another time when Kyrie Irving was doing his work at the top on the right side. LeBron James was far off to the left side at the hash mark, just standing there. Like, you go ahead, man. You go ahead and do your thing. And I looked around the room at Paul Pierce and Chauncey Billups, Michelle Beadle. I said, at the end of the third quarter, the Cavs looked like they just played all 4 quarters. If I was in Vegas, I would go and bet that the Golden State Warriors, and I got this wrong, would win by double figures even though they're trailing by 5 right now. I agree with the sentiments of Draymond Green and Steve Kerr, but that was the game plan. Force those guys to use and expend so much energy on both ends of the court and take away the role players' open shots.
I watched you on Countdown. You look great. Here's my
Thank
question.
you, family.
You mentioned that you were going to have a broom overnighted to you so you could have it on the set on NBA Countdown. Are you going to do that? Will you have a broom in hand on Friday night for Game 4?
And here's the thing that stinks. As a Michigander being in Ohio, there's a rivalry there. Though, however, Ohio, you've allowed us to produce some of our best players. You ever heard of Trey Burke, Desmond Howard, Charles Woodson, Elvis Gerback? We thank you. But with that being said, there will be people that says, oh, he just doing that because he's a Wolverine and he's in Buckeye country, so now he's trying to show out. No, it is not personal when I pull out the Walis, when I pull out the Thing, when I pull out the Thambo. When I'm in the building and somebody's getting swept, the broom is on the way.
Obviously, the success of the Golden State Warriors has a lot to do with them adding, one of the best players in the entire league, Kevin Durant. Draymond Green was excited after the game, and he shared a message that he had for Kevin Durant during the regular season.
I said, man, it's cool that you're here, but we really don't need you for the regular season, bro. We kind of going to need you for these finals, and he stepped up big and made plays for it.
What does he mean, we don't need you for the regular season, we need you for the finals?
Because they won 73 games without him. They were up 3-1. Draymond got suspended. They went on to lose the series, even though he participated in Games 6 and 7. Because Kevin Durant not only brings a dynamic, especially on the offensive end, to the Golden State Warriors that they did not have, but one of the most dynamic offensive arsenals that we've seen from a player who just so happens to be 6'10" with an amazing wingspan. Let me take you through a couple of plays that were just dynamic.
Please do, Mr. Rose.
At the top of the floor in the fourth quarter, Kevin Love, LeBron James. There's a pick and roll action. Kevin Durant comes off naked, left-hand dribble, three-point shot, bang. Guarded by Tristan Thompson, top of the floor, breaks him down, hits him with a shoulder. Remember when he was at the combine and he couldn't lift 180 pounds?
Yep.
And people were like, oh, man, maybe he's not strong enough.
Too weak to play in the league.
He's driving down the paint, hits Tristan Thompson with the elbow, jumps up and just rises like he was shot out of a cannon. He was 10 feet in the air. It was almost like his hand was at the exact same distance, literally, of the rim. And lastly, and I watched him do this drill before the game. I watched this. He does a drill where he's at half court, and he did 2 or 3 jumps, broad jumps, caught the ball and shot. From both sides, he was receiving the pass, and he missed each time. What? That's the basic shot that sealed the game. A stroll in the park, walk right up. I don't know why LeBron James was retreating.
A little bit.
Kevin Durant is a knockdown shooter. You probably want to pick him up at the hash mark, not that he can't raise up from there. And he like, I'm about to knock this down. I could see it in his eyes. They started to get bigger. And all of a sudden, bang, he snatched the heart, not only out of the Cleveland Cavaliers players, but out of the city.
I want to talk about some other specific plays as well, because LeBron James, a lot of people are talking about his pass to Kyle Korver. In a press conference today, he rebutted all the critics with laser focus, saying, I gave the ball to Kyle Korver, one of the best shooters this league has ever seen, in a spot where he loves the ball. But I think a lot of people are missing this. Steph Curry played great defense on that play. He got sucked into the lane as LeBron was driving. He had a pick from Kevin Love, a big, wide dude. He fought around that pick enough to force Kyle Korver to shoot that ball. He was open, but he was a little uncomfortable. He rushed it a little bit. I thought Steph Curry did a great job getting out and contesting that Kyle Korver 3. And then there's this, the Kyrie Irving play. The 12 dribbles, maybe should have drove to the lane, but ended up taking the same step back 3 that won them the series in Game 7, but kind of lost them the game here. I thought a lot of the problem with Kyrie's play was clock management. They could have gotten a 2-for-1, but he ended up shooting with about 26 seconds left, which led to them fouling, which ultimately led to them losing. What did you make of that Kyrie play?
I agree with your assessment. First, on the Kyle Korver play, Steph did a really good job of recovering And it's always good D when they miss.
Yep.
I mean,
fair.
that's just how this works. Yep. Kyle Korver's a knockdown shooter. LeBron made a quality basketball play. Yep. For Kyrie Irving, I've talked about this for the last couple of years. I'm not going to get into this hindsight of 2020 thing with the fans and the media. That's Kyrie Irving's game. If you were watching, not only this year, but his entire career, to go one-on-one, and all of a sudden he'll raise up from three and or he'll get to the bucket. His best games is when he's scoring 25 points, not when he's having 10 assists. That's just the strength of who he is. So whether he took 12 dribbles, whether he took 22 dribbles, I'm pretty sure you could find a lot more possessions where he took just as many dribbles and probably made the play. And so I understand what you mean about the 2-for-1 situation, but you look at it a lot different if he makes the shot. And lastly, LeBron James, right corner, Andre Iguodala, risk getting a foul called on him. Good hands on the ball, strips LeBron. All three of those plays help seal the deal defensively. And also, again, what's not getting talked about enough, Klay Thompson played really good defense the last few minutes in particular as well. So that's when they started to get it together, when they locked down on the defensive side of the basketball, especially late.
It did make me feel good for Klay Thompson to have a game during these finals to really show his value. He played well in Game 2, but he played excellently in Game 3 on both sides of the ball. Now, you've been talking about co-MVPs for the finals, but coming after this Durant performance, and especially hitting that three that you spoke about, is it clear to you that Kevin Durant would be the favorite for finals MVP after 3 games?
KD deserves finals MVP, elevated himself by the way he performed in Game 3. You talked about the clutch performance. And we mentioned their defense. The Cavs were 0 for 8 the last 3 minutes of the game from the floor. The Golden State Warriors ended the game on an 11-0 run, which was led by Kevin Durant.
Now, there's a bit of a controversy swirling on the internet, Mr. Rose. After KD hit this now legendary three-point dagger to put the Warriors up by 1, Steph Curry did something interesting. He was shocked by it, it seemed like, and even while the Cavs were taking the ball out, he took his mouthpiece out of his mouth and then squatted down a little bit, perhaps to mock pooping on the basketball floor at the Quicken Loans Arena, then puts his mouth guard back in his mouth and runs back on defense. This is a very important, serious journalistic question. Did Steph Curry mock poop on the city of Cleveland?
A couple of things happened. I'm pretty sure, because I heard it playing in the arena, Young Jeezy was on the mind.
Whoa.
Trap or die.
Whoa, okay.
And at that moment, Steph Curry probably was constipated. That's one. Number 2, I appreciate the etiquette. Kind of like a baby with their thumb or a bottle. He took his mouthpiece out, he spread his legs really wide, and he wanted to make sure that he stuck the landing.
Of course. And another thing about this is, whether it's a mock pooper, I kind of feel like he was just overcome with emotion and didn't really know how to celebrate and did something awkward. But regardless of what it was, the audacity to do it as Cleveland is taking the ball out with a 1-point lead in a swing game in the finals, he decided to spend, a second and a half in celebration, throws the mouthpiece back in his mouth, and then sprints back on defense. Steph Curry is just full of joy, and his mock poop, whether it was a mock poop or not, makes me full of joy as well.
That was no accident. If they were looking to call an intentional foul on the player, they would say that's not a normal basketball motion.
That was not a normal basketball motion. It was not a normal celebratory motion. It was not normal at all. And that is the kind of breakdown that you will get when you tune in to Jalen and Jacoby. Yep. Jalen Rose. After the game, J.R. Smith's account tweeted Cavs in 7. He has since denied that it was him that tweeted this on multiple different occasions. He said he was in the shower and his phone started buzzing. He said that he is smarter than that he would never tweet that. At first, I thought he was lying. Now I'm starting to believe that perhaps someone else actually tweeted that from his account. What do you think happened? How did this tweet come to be?
Well, if he didn't send a tweet, it's clearly somebody that's close to him because they got access to his phone. Whether it's a teammate.
Who else can tweet from your account?
Or something like that. But here's the deal. he plays on the team. And I understand that he wants to have confidence because he's getting paid millions of dollars by that squad to be ride or die in situations like this. I just feel bad for you and Marcellus Wiley. Both of you guys.
Cavs in 6.
You still feel like the Cavs are going to win in 6.
Yes, Cavs in 6. I'm sticking to my Cavs in 6 pick. I think so. Look, they've pulled off the impossible before. Last year, they have done something that has never been done in the history of the NBA. I think they will do that again this year. They will win 4 games in 3 games and close this series in 6.
Like I've been saying, this is not last year.
Nope. Okay. Well, one of the reasons that the Cavaliers find themselves down 0-3 has been the disappearance of Tristan Thompson. My man Zach Lowe wrote this big profile about Tristan Thompson before the finals. I was so excited for him. He was averaging a double-double in the playoffs, being a key cog in the Cavaliers' wheel, and he has completely disappeared. And you think it is because of what, Mr. Rose? Say it.
We talk about things on this program for years that I don't get joy in doing this.
Oh, no.
Because I support power couples.
I support power couples, too. We support power couples.
We love power couples on this show.
Power the television show and power couples are two of the things that we support on this program.
And we got to start giving more love to Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union as well. They're one of my favorite power couples. Now, with that being said, the 3 things in life that are guarantees. Father Time, gravity, and the curse of the Kardashians. And Tristan Thompson, as you mentioned, was averaging a double-double.
A double-double.
In each of these playoff games, he's gotten triple singles. In 2 of the games, a donut in the points column.
That's insane to me.
I can't make this up.
Steph Curry had more rebounds in Game 3 than Tristan Thompson has had the entire series. Just synthesize that information for a second. Steph Curry, the point guard, he probably weighs 180 pounds, 190 maybe, has more rebounds in one single game in this series than Tristan Thompson, who is only there to rebound, has in the entire series. This has to be mystical. This has to be forces outside of the control of regular human capabilities. This is definitely a curse of the Kardashians. And then we have this. Your man, Darren Williams. Darren Williams has not made a shot in an NBA game since May 25th. I'll say that again. Darren Williams has not made a shot in an NBA game since May 25th. How has he just completely disappeared as well?
It looks like this stage is too big for him.
Yeah.
And also, here's what happened that the Cavaliers did that was a terrific thing to add depth to their squad. They were able to take starters from bad teams and make them reserves.
Yeah.
Kyle Korver, though the Hawks made the playoffs,
Yep.
has done a terrific job of being a knockdown three-point shooter. Darren Williams was a starter in Dallas. Now you add these guys to your team.
Bogut comes to mind.
You put
as
them
well.
in a row. Absolutely. Andrew Bogut, who only played, 30 seconds for the squad before he got hurt. There was a reason why they was trying to get him to be a part of the squad. And so once the finals started and you look out on the court and you like, Darren Williams looks like a shell of himself. And I know you say that he hasn't made a shot in a few weeks, but at the same time, he is getting those shots.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to not fall into a basket when you're playing a lot of minutes, especially when you have any hustle or any offensive talent? That's why what we're saying about Tristan Thompson having 0 points in 2 or 3 of the games, it's almost head-scratching. You can run your body into somebody and get to the line and get a basket.
Good point.
Okay? Darren Williams, he has a really good handle. He has a nice shot. I mean, you would think he would make one bucket, not only in this series, but as you mentioned, in the last couple of weeks. It's really been head-scratching what I've seen from not only those 2 guys, but a few other of the Cavs role players who weren't able to get going.
Someone who's having a breakout series would be my man Paul Pierce, right there with you on the NBA Countdown set. And he's new to the media game, so early on in the series when he said that KD was the best player in the league, he is just feeling so vindicated and so validated after every good KD performance that he actually believes that Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA in real life. Yep. Do you start to agree with him after watching these 3 games?
Yep. I love Paul Pierce. That's my brother. And watching how people ran with that comment showed me how many suckers are really out there. Like, seriously. Have anybody realized that Kevin Durant's been one of the top 2 or 3 players for the last 5 or 6 years?
But he's not the best player in the league.
He helped lead the Oklahoma City
Jalen?
Thunder to the championship. Let me frame it a different way. Kevin Durant played with Russell Westbrook and James Harden, who I had number 1 and number 2 in the MVP race. They went to the finals. He went on to win 4 scoring championships in Oklahoma City and make All-NBA. He's been that deal. So it wasn't much of a leap. How about this? Paul didn't pick the Cleveland Cavaliers to get swept.
No, of course not. But let me say this, is if you switched LeBron James and Kevin Durant, something tells me the Warriors would still be pretty good. Like, the idea that Kevin Durant is a better basketball player than LeBron James is just sort of forgetting the fact that this is a team sport. I would say, as LeBron said himself, that the Warriors are a better team. They have more firepower. In my mind and in my opinion, based on the basketball that I've watched over the last, decade, LeBron James is and will continue to be the best player in the NBA, regardless of what happens in this final series.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And I'm about to tell you the top 3 players in the game, and you can 3-card Monty who you want to pick. But if you notice, the base of their games are actually different. LeBron James, a power guard, a guy that could get you baskets, in particular driving in the paint. That's his strength. By evidence, when he drove down the lane and he dunked on KD and he dunked on JaVale McGee.
Yep.
Kawhi Leonard, lockdown defender, who not only has improved his game from 3, but also has a terrific post game and can turn over both shoulders. And now you have the guy that embodies position basketball along with those 2 guys. An anomaly. A tall George Gervin. Iceberg Slim. Kevin Durant. He's prolific at getting buckets. This is what he does. He's had 25-plus points in every finals game he's played. The only other 2 guys to do that are Shaq and Michael Jordan. He falls out of bed in the 30 points. So basically, now he's improved defensively, getting blocks, getting steals. Their lineups, since the Cavs don't have a big that can punish KD down low because he's thin, they play him at the 5. So those 3 guys are the best players in the league. Now, you can decide your flavor of the moment, but you have to give KD credit for right now because he's the best player on the best team on the biggest stage, and he's about to get a championship, and he's about to win Finals MVP.
I agree with you that those are the best 3 players in the league. However, I do not consider Kawhi Leonard because he's boring. He's boring to me. I'm a media member. You got to be more excited. You got to give me some quotes. You got to smile. You got to celebrate. You got to do something. You can't just be like a robot. Come on, Kawhi. We're going to open up our voicemail box. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail, and we'll play it on the show. Let's listen to the first voicemail.
What up, Doug? This is Marissa calling from Oakland. I had a question for Jalen. I was wondering when teams are on the road, if some of the elite players are allowed to travel with an entourage. I'm thinking nutritionist, maybe a masseuse, maybe a personal trainer. Is that included in the NBA team budget? Do they stay in the same room as the player? Or do the players just roll solo when they're on the road? Let me know. Get at me and keep doing what you're doing. Thanks. Bye.
Great question. Great question from Marissa.
That's a terrific question. Absolutely. And usually it's a confluence of a couple of things. The team has a trainer, a lot of times a nutritionist. They have somebody that's actually monitoring the players as it relates to analytics for their rest and different things that don't necessarily appear to be important to a player, which really are. But then you have to realize that one trainer has to work on 15 different people. That one massage therapist has to work on 15 different people. And you hope in a team dynamic, everybody gets treated equal. Yeah, if Mikhail's on the table at 1 o'clock and Steph Curry needs to only do it at 1 o'clock, you're going to move him. But you get the point. At some point, you want to have your own infrastructure because routine becomes a big part of everything you do. And you want to do things sometimes outside of the team dynamic because, as I mentioned, the people that are employees of the squad don't only work for you. The ball boys, the trainers, they don't only work for you. So absolutely, these athletes that compete at a high level have their infrastructure set to where those people that they need around them to help them perform at an optimum level, they travel with them, but you pay for their own lodging. You pay for their own travel because you're getting the kind of money where you can do such, and you hope it pays dividends when you win in championships, like it seems the Golden State Warriors are going to do via sweep against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
So the team pays for the team employees. If you want to bring extra people, that's on you. You got to book the flights. You got to go to upside.com and get the flights and the lodging. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
What up, bacon and bologna? It's the whole hog, live from Detroit. Shout to Reg. Brat. Shout to Harlan. Shout Carlos. Shout John Lawrence, the Family Feud host extraordinaire. Shout Motown Clown on the ones and twos. Shout the czar of reality television. Shout Miniman Mafia. Got the munchkins in the back. But I got a question. Just watched Jalen versus everybody, loved it. But Jacoby, what was your thoughts when you saw some Drew Carey-looking dude that was going to play you? I didn't see the resemblance. All right. Peace out. Lobster statues, everything. You know the deal.
I love this caller. Richard Summer is an excellent thespian and a very handsome man. He's a very handsome man. And Drew Carey, also a very handsome man. And here's the thing is, I love the performance from Rich that he did portraying me on Jalen versus everybody. And when you consider this, it's much better they went that way than they got like a handsomer, cooler, younger, in better shape version of me. So when you consider that, you're much better off being portrayed by somebody with glasses, being a little bit nerdier than you, than them deciding you can't be on the show because we need somebody that's actually cool. When you consider that, you understand why I am 1,000% in support of Rich's portrayal
Big shout,
of David
Rich.
Jacoby
Appreciate
on
the love.
version of Jalen and Jacoby.
Shout out.
Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey, hello to David and Rose. Give a shout out to Richie in the back too. This is Donald in Ireland. Is it a hard move or an easy move to call a radio show and deliberately get all of the catchphrases wrong so that they'll put you on air? Thanks, guys. You're far too good.
See, there's one thing I love about people from England, Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. One thing I love about those people, first thing, speak English. It makes international travel so much easier. You know, I understand their sense of humor. We can get the nuance of language and the jokes. And also, they have a very dry and intelligent sense of humor, as you can tell from my man here. I believe his name is Dave. He was excellent. And Hard Move and Easy Move is an excellent new segment that we will not be paying you for the IP for. Jalen's on his phone, so let's listen to the next voicemail.
What's going on, Jalen? What's going on, Jacoby? This is Leroy from Toronto, Canada. What up, Reggie? This question, though, is really for Reggie. Reggie, have you finally recognized the greatness of Cameron? I was hearing a lot of Cameron the other day in the background. Killer Cam, Killer Cam, Killer Cam, Killer. Keep giving the people what they want. Remember, I'm a human. Later.
I've already said this off wax to everybody on the staff that Reggie is getting a big head. He's way too famous now. Every single call mentions him. His Twitter followers are up, and I find it annoying. I'm here to keep a cap on Reggie, and I'm not even going to allow Reggie to answer that question because I know the answer is that he still doesn't respect Cameron and the greatness that is Cameron and the Dipset crew. Nope. So we're going to move on to the next voicemail.
What's up, Jalen and Jacoby? Big fan of the show. Question about all this talk going on now with LeBron and KD. KD taking over LeBron's spot. I'm curious, who would you take as your first pick if you're playing a pickup game? God damn it, Bill.
You can't plan for that. Nope. Like, you can't plan for that. That was brilliant. It seemed like he was attacked. I hope he's okay. You know, I hope he's okay. Please call in again and just let us know that you're okay. It seemed like you were not just attacked by a single dog. It seemed like it was a pack of dogs.
That was hilarious.
Yep. But to answer your questions, you know the answer to that question. And Jalen, you know the answer to that question. Everybody knows the answer to the question. Everybody does. And people have a recency bias, so they want to say KD now. And you know what? It's hard to go against a guy who's 7 feet, has ball skills, can dribble, can get buckets from all over the area, has improved defensively, can block shots, can get stops on smalls that try to drive to the basket. But we all know LeBron James is the best player in the world and will continue to be for years to come.
So here's the thing. There's a reason why there's Player of the Week. I woke up 2 Monday mornings in my life and was like, I'm the best player in the world.
Good for you.
There's a reason why there's Player of the Month. I didn't get that far.
No.
There are reasons why they're regular season MVPs and finals MVPs. And this is basically what's being diluted with how Paul Pierce said that Kevin Durant is the best player in the world. The bottom line is this. Right now, he's the king of the court. His team is up 3-0. He's going to be finals MVP. So if you don't say he's the best player, it's almost like when you're playing pickup and a team's running the court, but you like they're not the best team. You have to give it to him right now. He's winning. And here's another thing that kind of distinguishes those two players, however. I really don't have the motor to try to score all of the points. And I know KD does. So I want to just give the ball to somebody else and let them cook.
Well, we appreciate all the calls, except for the ones that give praise to Reggie. And we appreciate you calling 985-80-JALEN and leaving us more voicemails.
Shout out.
Jalen Rose, LeBron James addressed the media today, and he also addressed Kevin Durant's move from the Oklahoma City Thunder to the Warriors and took some not-so-subliminal shots. Let's give a listen.
I don't think that our careers are the same as far as changing teams. Their team was already kind of put together, and you just implement a guy that's ready to sacrifice, a great talent, a guy that's willing to do whatever it takes to help the team win. But that team, they knew what they were about. For me, when I left here to go to Miami, we had to build something. And then when I came back here, we built something again.
Jalen Rose, take us behind the curtain. What is LeBron really saying?
What he's basically saying is KD jumped on the bandwagon at Golden State. I helped build the situation in Miami as well as the situation in Cleveland.
It sounds to me like he's saying what I accomplished in Miami and what I accomplished in Cleveland was more difficult. I had to try harder. I had to build something. I was not jumping to a team that was already super. I had to build a team that was super. And when you look at the timing of this, right when you're down 0-3 in the finals, you're looking at Kevin Durant hit game-winning shots right in your face. You're basically seeing him grab the NBA Finals MVP trophy right in front of you as you cover him. Does it seem like he's taking shots at KD? Because that's exactly what it seems like to me.
How about this? Had lunch with Charles Barkley today, and he reminded me of something. 2010, we talked about this on this program multiple times. When the Lakers put together, at the time, Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, to go with Kobe Bryant, he tweeted, "Why do everybody want to have a super team? We need to want to go at these guys." Now you fast forward. Clearly they're friends. They worked out together. They're on wax together, literally dropping bars that weren't fly. They're on wax playing flag football. They have a tremendous amount of admiration for one another. A lot of people give LeBron James, including KD, the credit for what we now see players in particular MVP caliber players, because that's what this is about. Normally MVP caliber players don't change teams. And so for LeBron to do that, it now opened up the floodgates with media, with fans, to kind of look at it different. Hate it or love it, I'm going after the chips. So LeBron returns to Cleveland. KD does the exact same thing, except he joined a team that won a championship 2 years ago, with 73 games last year. It was more turnkey than when LeBron went to Miami. But let's not act like Pat Riley wasn't down there pulling the strings. Let's not act like Dwayne Wade hadn't already won a championship in the Finals MVP. It's just that he was playing at an all-star level, probably not consistently at an all-NBA level, but Chris Bosh, the exact same thing, all-star / all-NBA level. So while they're different because the Miami Heat didn't have the record the year prior that the Golden State Warriors did when LeBron James joined them, in theory, both were trying to get the same thing accomplished. And it's only karma, as you look 7 years later, that the person that was tweeting about it, Kevin Durant, the person that led the baton, the person that carried the baton for it with the new school LeBron James, is now watching KD beat him with said super team.
LeBron James is extremely intelligent, and people talk about this all the time, not just on the court, but off the court. And he knows what he is saying. He knows that he is reminding everybody that what he had to do to win his championships was more difficult than what KD had to do to win his championship, if that isn't how it plays out. It's just interesting to me that right now LeBron chooses this time to say this. I personally love it because LeBron James will always lead the league in one thing: competitiveness. He is a competitive dude. He's very petty. LeBron James, he knows everything. He keeps score up here about everything. And while you did a great job pointing something out that I wanted to point out as well, I don't know if he necessarily built what was happening in Miami as much as he did in Cleveland. It felt like he joined Miami. It felt like it was part of a movement that he was a part of, whereas in Cleveland, I feel like he did a lot of this himself, and winning that championship last year is going to be one of the peaks of his career, if not the peak of his career. But in Miami, it felt a little bit more like Pat Riley pulling the strings than LeBron James.
And we talk a lot about power. I'm happy it returns on the 25th. Couples. Teams in the NBA, 7 All-Stars in the finals. But I think my lunch was powerful today. Molly Carum, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal. Who you got? Us or the Warriors?
I had an acai bowl by myself at my desk while I was preparing for this show. That's what I got. LeBron James also is very smart, like I said, and one thing Kevin Durant didn't break any rules. He decided what was best for him. He wanted to join the team that would make him happy, live in a city that would make him happy, and you can't fault him for that. When LeBron was asked if it was fair for KD to join the Warriors, here's what he had to say.
Is it fair? I don't care. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, it's great for our league. I mean, right now, look at our TV ratings. Guys are loving the game. Our fans love the game. No matter who I'm going against, if I'm going against, 4 Hall of Famers, I'm going against 2 or whatever the case may be, I'm always excited to play the game, and I'm not one to judge or say if it's fair or not. Is it fair that the New York Yankees in the 90s was adding piece after piece after piece after piece? I mean, if you have the opportunity to do that, is it fair that the Cowboys added Deion Sanders? Have an opportunity to sign one of the best players, and you can do it? Go ahead and do it. Why not? If I become an owner, I'm going to try to sign everybody.
I love that he's already hinting at what's next in his career. He's like, when I become an owner, I'm going to sign everybody. What do you think LeBron was really saying with this comment?
Can we get Tom Brokaw on the phone, please?
To everyone else, it's breaking news. No problem. To Jalen and Jacoby listeners, it's broken news.
So I'm starting to see online a couple of outlets that are reporting that there is a chance that when LeBron James becomes a free agent after next season, that one, he could leave the Cleveland Cavaliers. And 2, the destination is going to be a team in California. Where am I doing this show right now?
In Cleveland?
That means I'm a groundhog, okay? I'm getting information. I'm getting things done, all right? And it ain't going to be the Clippers. If and when it happens, who's running basketball operations for the Los Angeles Lakers?
Irving Magic Johnson.
What is one of the things the Hall of Fame mogul has been able to achieve as it relates to being a part of not only a baseball team, but a basketball team in the National Basketball Association?
Success, championships.
And ownership. LeBron James continues to hint at that because that's what he wants. And I know you're hearing people talk about the pieces. I'm going to say them again so there's no gray. You draft Ball, bring Paul George home, add hopefully a LeBron James, and then see if, what's going on with Russell? Nah, that's not happening. Here's the deal. LeBron James delivered on what he promised the Cleveland Cavaliers, as well as the Miami Heat, that he was going to bring championship glory. He did that.
He owes nothing more to the city of Cleveland.
I think now his next move, while of course it's all about winning games, it's going to be about how do I become the next Magic Johnson? That's what I see. And there's no better player, there's no better person to learn it from than to stand next to the actual version of Irvin Johnson. Stay tuned.
Jalen Rose. According to Forbes, the Golden State Warriors are worth a lot of money. Let me tell you a little story. Back in 2010, Joe Lacob and Peter Gruber purchased the team for $450 million. So just 7 years ago, they bought the team for less than $500 million. At the time, that was a record price. Now, the Golden State Warriors are worth $2.6 billion. What? My question for you is about the luxury tax and how much you spend on a roster. They've got some really interesting decisions to make. Sure, it's been reported that KD will take, $4 million less to keep Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala on the team, but that is light work when it comes to some of the decisions that they will have to make down the line. They've got 4 all-star players, all easily deserving of max contracts. I'm a businessman, and I'm saying, you know what? Winning championships makes me money. My value of my company went from $450 million to $2.6 billion, and we only won 1 championship. So, why wouldn't I just go grossly into the luxury tax? I'm talking about paying $300 million a year in salary, with all things included, to keep this team together, to keep this core here, and stay dynastic and watch this business go from $2.6 billion to $3.6 billion in a matter of 3 or 4 years. Does that make business sense to you, Mr. Rose?
It absolutely does. And the 4 players you're talking about, the Splash Brothers, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, up front, Kevin Durant and Draymond Green, you find a way to keep those 4 players together, see if you can embody a true dynasty based on the fact that they won the championship 2 years ago. I believe they would have won last year had Draymond Green not got suspended. They're sweeping the Cleveland Cavaliers. They could be headed for something special. They're not going to do anything to break it up.
No. But the fundamental thing about the collective bargaining agreement is that if your salary gets too high, then we will put a tax on you for every dollar you spend over the cap. But it's a way of financially dissuading teams from having lots and lots of salary. However, when you look at these numbers, in 7 years going from $450 million to 7 years later $2.6 billion, they have quintupled their value. It doesn't seem like they're incentivized to keep their salary low because their business is quintupling in value over this amount of time. I don't think there's enough sort of rules and barriers in place in the collective bargaining agreement to keep teams like the Warriors from going well over the cap. Do you agree?
As long as it's worth it. The players that you're talking about not only are all-star caliber players, all NBA type performers, MVP caliber, top shelf players in the game. You're not going to do anything to break that up, and I don't think they will either.
Jalen Rose, after the game, there's a video on the internet of Steph Curry's mom and Kevin Durant's mom. If you can take yourself back just to the end of that game in the Warriors, you could feel the excitement in all the post-game interviews. When you win a game like that, you steal victory from defeat in the last seconds on an 11-0 run. People are riding high, and people are riding so high. And here is what Kevin Durant's mom said, not really on wax, but someone was filming up with their phone. She said, they tried to give it to them, but they wouldn't take it. That's what happened. That's what happened. That's what happened. Do you agree with her assessment that the Warriors tried to give the game to the Cavaliers, but they just did not take it?
I'm glad that you mentioned KD's mom. I want to mention Draymond Green's mother, Steph Curry's mother as well. I know that they have all-star talented sons, but I truly appreciate how they represent, how not only their love endures, but how well-spoken they are when they're in interviews, how they're continuing to be a great role model and influence for their sons, even though that they're successful and they're playing at such an elite level. You can still see all three of those ladies thumping one of them upside of the head if they needed to. And I just love that. Yep. With that being said, what she means by they tried to give them the game was they had an opportunity a couple of different times to make big runs, in particular in the fourth quarter. There was a LeBron James 3 on the right wing. There was a Kyle Korver 3 on the left wing. I think those couple of plays, a Kyrie drive to the paint, every now and then when the Warriors at the beginning of the quarter seemed like they were trying to get their rhythm back and take control of the game, those type of plays happen. And so as KD started to take over and all of a sudden seemed to be unstoppable, that was the boost that the Warriors needed to close the deal. And he really shut it down.
Yeah, he sure did. And as we look forward to tomorrow night's Game 4, I have to ask you, do you think the Warriors will sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers on their home floor at Quicken Loans Arena?
I do. And a couple of things come to mind. Do you think they want to fly to Golden State and watch them celebrate on their home floor in front of their fans?
No, I don't think they want to do that.
You're better off losing at home, walking off the court and your fans cheering for you, telling you had a great season, than going to Golden State and losing. They like, remember that 3-1 T-shirt? You remember those Halloween cookies? Yeah,
So you bring that up, and a lot of media members do bring that up, but there's also the competitiveness of LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're all, they all want to win the game. Like, I don't feel that they will give less effort because they don't want to fly to Golden State. So how do you sort of like rationalize both of those feelings at the same time that seem to be at odds?
I'm not talking literally, I'm talking figuratively. It's an emotion and a defeat that happens. It's almost like if you were in a fight. It could be the 7th round and you know you're losing on all of the cards. You know you can't win by decision, but man, you still got to fight 5 more rounds. That's kind of what the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to have to deal with. But also, it's about the Golden State Warriors closing the deal. I think they understand what's at stake being the first team that can go undefeated throughout a playoff run. And I think they would love nothing better than to not only do it against LeBron James, but to do it on their floor in front of their fans. That's something that I'm pretty sure is going to motivate them in Game 4. I think it happens. Wallace will be making an appearance.
And we putting it on wax.
When I imagined myself in the 7th round of a fight, I was just tired even thinking about it. I would just throw in the towel after like 2 rounds. Boxing is so tiring. I know you do those boxing workouts. It's just so tiring. I would never make it to the 7th round of a fight. Never, ever. 21 minutes of boxing? You've got to be kidding me. Jalen Rose, you rep the D. Everywhere you go, everything you say. Right now, you've got the Detroit Tigers Old English D on your chest. There's some news about the Detroit Lions. It's not encouraging. Calvin Johnson paid the Lions $1 million, $1 million American dollars, not to play for the Lions. He paid them $1 million not to play. What does it say about your hometown team that Calvin Johnson paid them $1 million not to play?
Well, I think that number is inaccurate. I think the number is around $300,000. You might want to research that, one.
I have
2,
researched.
He was still under contract, and therefore they were allowed to get a percentage of his salary, I think up to 10%. They didn't take the entire 10%. But either way, I think it's petty on the club's part. He's one of the all-time great Detroit Lions. Leads the team in career receptions, reception yards, touchdowns. Has always been a model citizen. He's a class act. He was Megatron on the field. I was disappointed to hear that the team still pursued him to pay them back the money, though he chose to retire. It's one thing if he was trying to retire or trying to finagle his way to go play somewhere else. But he legitimately retired. I thought that was a soft move.
I agree. Then we have this. PK Subban has been in the news because he's a controversial figure. You know, he's got a big personality. He's not shy with microphones and cameras. And it was alleged that Crosby told him he had bad breath. So now he is owning it. And he is basically like has his own Twitter account for his Listerine bottles. He's constantly showing all of his Listerine bottles. Soft move or boss move, PK Subban taking care of his breath.
It's definitely a boss move, especially when he parlays that into an endorsement deal with them.
He's about to. He's definitely about to. Do you use mouthwash?
I do.
Really?
And toothpaste.
You use mouthwash every single day? I don't believe you for some reason.
You didn't say that I use it every day. You said that I use it.
Is it part of your daily routine? Do you have a mouthwash bottle next to your sink at your home?
Not every single day.
How often do you floss?
Maybe twice a month, but every other day with a toothpick.
Oh, yeah. Jalen Rose is a toothpick connoisseur. I've definitely witnessed that before myself. So we have more information about Cerise Wright's Uber trip, and it's getting more interesting. Now, famously, he's a new cornerback for the Buffalo Bills, and he wanted to get from Chicago to Buffalo for OTAs. It was very important for him to make a good impression on his new team. Now we are learning some interesting details. His Uber driver saw that he was going to Buffalo, took the phone call, and was like, and Mr. Wright said, look, this is an emergency. I need a ride to Buffalo. I know it's going to be a long trip. Please, will you do this? The Uber driver promised that he would take him to Buffalo. However, he assumed that he was going to Buffalo, Illinois, not Buffalo, New York, and did not realize that he was going to be driving across the country until Mr. Wright clarified that to him in the car. Now, this is where I really love this Uber driver. He had already committed to the trip. So he said, you know what? I told you I was going to do this. I'm going to be a man of my word. I'm going to bring you to Buffalo. Were you the Uber driver, would you have canceled the trip when you found out that it was not Buffalo, Illinois, it was Buffalo, New York?
How much was the trip again?
$632.08 for the trip.
I'm getting a $600 trip versus the $9 trip.
And I appreciate you because you are an expert on this, because you, my friend, have an official chauffeur's license. For what reason, no one will ever know. But I think you invented Uber before Uber or something like that.
I wish.
Oh, wait a second.
I was on the right track but wrong train.
We have statue news, Jalen Rose.
Oh, we do? Yay.
That was the least enthusiastic yay I've ever heard in my whole entire life. Ever. Ever.
Yay!
Well, this statue doesn't deserve enthusiasm. This is Lint Bron James. A woman in Cleveland took 30 pounds of dryer lint and created a statue of the visage, the bust of LeBron James. We all know LeBron James is deserving of a statue. It'll likely be in Cleveland, but who knows? Jalen Rose has him going to the Lakers, and maybe his statue will be in 3 different places all at once. What do you think, as the leading senior statue analyst in this country, of Lint Bron James?
Quality work, great precision, exquisite level of detail, personal and professional care. I'm happy that it was done. It's a great depiction. I salute it. I support it.
Did you look at the picture I sent you?
I did.
Okay, good. We have important peacock news as well. A peacock broke into a liquor store, went straight to the expensive wine, and caused $500 worth of damage. What? Would you champagne a campaign with this peacock?
Yep. No, that peacock probably would have had to catch a hot one.
Okay. That's fair. At Predators games in Nashville, Charles Barkley wasn't the only one imbibing alcohol. We also have the Nashville Predators O-line. They go there, and we showed them earlier on the show. They chug their beers, and they have a good time doing it, and it looks like a lot of fun. Marcus Mariota was there as well, the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. And he was asked why he didn't chug a beer, and he said that he has never had a sip of alcohol. What? Outside of religious reasons, how do you think he's made it this far without having a sip of alcohol?
Willpower, discipline, faith. I applaud that. I admire that.
Is it true you have never smoked a cigarette?
Oh, it's true. Never tried.
You've never tried a single puff of a cigarette? Like
I
if you
have
were
not.
13, you never saw the older kids smoking and took a puff? Never in your life. You've never had a puff of a cigarette?
My mother smoked cigarettes. And so just something, as a youngster, I just didn't want to do. So I never tried it.
Me neither then. Me neither. There's news and reports that the car that Derek Fisher flipped over at 3 a.m. and totaled and was subsequently arrested for suspicion of driving under the influence is actually owned by Matt Barnes, who is playing, quote unquote, in the NBA Finals. How do you think Matt Barnes is going to handle this development?
Seriously?
Yes.
He trying to catch a fade for real. Stay here, I got to be me. You never. That's what it's all about. You can take me for granted and smile.
Once again, you're listening to the singing voice of Jalen Rose and the regular voice of David Jacoby. Obi-Wan Jacoby, I should add.
Man, don't ever call yourself that again, or I'm not doing this program. You know,
see, I
here's
don't
what's
understand
gonna
why
happen.
this upsets you so much. Why does this upset you so much? You call yourself the Motown clown.
All right, the same way it upsets you that we called ourselves 5 times instead of the Fab Five.
I think Obi-Wan Jacoby is a perfectly acceptable MC name. Yep. I think it's perfectly acceptable.
What about my rebuttal? Why are you ignoring my rebuttal?
5 times is corny. Obi-Wan Jacoby is not corny. It's not. It's not. I stand by Obi-Wan Jacoby as an MC name. And you notice that you said you would stop doing the program. And don't ever threaten me with stop doing the program.
Anybody that can hear my voice, please tweet at Jalen and Jacoby, at D Jacoby, and let us know if it's a soft move or a boss move to have a rap name, Obi-Wan Jacoby.
Shout out to the entire Chaos Clique.
Shout out.
And also, Jalen, don't threaten me with leaving the show. You know what I mean? Because just don't do me the favor of leaving the show.
I got a remedy.
Don't threaten me with leaving the show. I love the segments I do by myself. I need to shine. You're holding me back.
You know what? You already got your new partner and you don't even know it.
Who's that?
Jacoby and Reggie.
Oh, no. Do you know what? If he only can speak through the soundboard, I'm down. Yeah, then I'm down. If he can only use the soundboard, I'm down. All right. We're going to open up our 1-800-FLOWERS Twitter feed and take questions from you, our listeners, because we give the people what they want. First is a good question from Ryan. Would you ride a woolly mammoth if they were still around?
Yep.
Do you know what a woolly mammoth is?
Nope.
I don't know what a woolly mammoth is.
A woolly mammoth is a very hairy elephant with large tusks. Bigger than a normal elephant.
And what am I supposed to do with it again?
Ride it. That's a no.
I would ride one.
Oh, okay, good. I would ride a woolly mammoth as well. Thank you so much for the question, Ryan. Now,
something I look forward to trying to do, riding an elephant. I would love to do that.
Yep.
I look forward to that. I also look forward to the animation of you riding an elephant. And this is from Jeff, a little bit more ESPN radio-y. What can Steph Curry do in Game 4 to win Finals MVP? Good question, Jeff. What would Steph Curry 60. Have to do? 60 isn't the bar. I think if he scored 45, had a triple-double, and hit some big shots at the end of the game, based on what he did in Game 1 and Game 2, would give him the Finals MVP. I think so. Don't you?
Yep.
You said they were neck and neck after 2.
I said what I thought. The great thing about this program, you don't listen to what I say. I said what I thought. You heard my answer.
I know, but
score
60. No. If he scored 59 and had a triple-double, come on, Jalen. You're not being serious. Ride a woolly mammoth. Next is this. Another good question. It's from Daniel. Is Ty Lue's job in danger if the Cavs get swept?
Nope.
Not at all.
Huh. Interesting. I think a lot of people point out problems but don't have solutions. It's like, okay, so let's imagine the hypothetical highway. We'll go down it. Ty Lue loses jobs to the Cavs. Who are they gonna hire? David Blatt? David Blatt's coming back? You know, it's like what are you gonna do then?
I got somebody they can possibly hire. First and foremost, Ty Lue has done a terrific job.
Yeah.
They're losing to a better basketball team. Everybody just face it. I could go X's and O's all I want. The bottom line is they added KD.
Yep.
But if for some strange hypothetical world, and by the way, why doesn't Mark Jackson have a coaching job? Even Colin Kaepernick thinks that's crazy.
Yep.
Here's the deal, though. They still paying Mike Brown.
Good point. If Ty Lue decides to retire, they can call it Mike Brown and be like, we're paying you, okay? So you might as well come over and coach his team. So you can get fired by LeBron again. Matthias has a very simple question as well. Is there too much talk about stats in the NBA?
Absolutely.
Yes is the answer. Yes.
And I got another word that has been masked by analytics.
Yes. It's like, sure, those are important because you can quantify a player's performance. But when you actually watch the game, you see so many contributions that lead to winning and losing the game that have nothing to do with what ends up in the box score or the advanced analytics or the SportVU stats or don't tell me, oh, guess what? He ran 4 miles in game 3, but he only ran 3.7 miles in game 2. It's like, you know what? I watched the game, okay? I watched the game. I can tell how someone's performing. LeBron James is the best player in the world. Don't talk to me about KD. This is interesting from K-Mel. You ready?
Yes, indeed.
Do you think LeBron will win another championship?
I talked about this on First Take this week, and I appreciate them having me on, especially to lead into Jalen versus everybody.
Shout out.
No.
Oh. What? Oh, I'm going the other way. I think yes. Explain to me why you do not think LeBron James will win another championship.
I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
If you believe LeBron's going to win a championship, your answer is yes, my answer is no, so there's no explanation for mine. Who do you think is going to be the second best player on the team when he does?
Not him. I don't think he'll be the best player. I think LeBron James will be in the NBA for 7 or 8 more years, and he will at some point take a back seat. He will at some point be that veteran leadership semi-role player on a team where he is not the best player. I think that LeBron James is very smart, and you've noticed how he's navigated his career. He always puts himself in a position to get to the finals, and at some point he's going to look in the mirror, he's going to take out a Bic razor, shave off all of his hair, and say, I am now at the point in my career where I need to be a locker room role model and a fourth scoring option, an offensive facilitator, and I need to ride the coattails of other players to a championship. He's got another 8 years in the league, and there will be a Larry O'Brien trophy in one of them. Your thoughts, Mr. Rose?
I don't think he's going to win another championship.
Nope. I appreciate you for expanding on that thought. Next, we have this. This is from Goran. I always say his last name wrong, so I'm going to omit it this time. Soft move or boss move? Rejecting the girl that you got rejected by. And then he said, I want you both to weigh in. He probably knows you're on your phone.
Here's what I learned about life, in particular as you start to get older. Only your accusers judge you by your worst days and won't let you live down your worst moments. Follow your head. Follow your heart. Don't carry anxiety. Don't carry hatred. Don't carry negative energy or feelings. If you want to be with somebody, if you really like, if you really love, and want to be with the person, even if they let you down, even if they broke your heart, I would say you should actually be with them, because here's why. You're going to get your heart broken again by a lot of different situations in life that's not your mate. It comes with the territory. So if you want to be with them, be with them.
Jalen Rose, that was mature, that was considerate, that was articulate, that was responsible, and that was everything I wanted from the last question. Thank you so much for listening on ESPN Radio, for watching on ESPN2 and ESPN News.
Thank you.
And subscribing to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast.
Thank you. You're far too kind.